Hello, everyone. Welcome to Soulprism Podcast, where we share bite-sized nuggets of wisdom for your body, mind, and soul to serve you, the emerging soulpreneur. My name is Tammy Mack, and I'm really excited about this episode. We are talking about the lunar eclipse that is happening on September the 7th. This is on the axis of Virgo, meaning that the sun is in Virgo right now. We're all in Virgo season, if you don't know now. But the moon is going to be in Pisces, which is the opposite axis of Virgo. And so the moon and Earth are both in Pisces. And so we're going to have this lunar eclipse. And what happens during the eclipse is the energies that are playing out in the cosmos are that much more amplified. I really wanted to bring my friend Jeana McDonald into the conversation today because her unconscious sun and unconscious earth are at the exact axis of the eclipse. So this is really going to play out for her, not only the next 6 months, but moving forward. And so I'm really excited about this episode today as we dive into what the energies mean and how it's going to be affecting her and how you may be able to see this in your own life and work with it as well. Jeana, welcome to Soulprism Podcast.
Thanks, Tammy. I'm excited to talk about this and learn about this because I'm actually learning as we're going. So honestly, let's go. So I did do some research, and yes, gate 64 is my sun and gate 63 is my earth moon, and that's unconscious, right?
And so this is unconscious. Now, in human design and in real life, we always say that you have to bring the unconscious conscious, otherwise it's always going to rule your life, right? It's always going to be the driver until we're conscious about it. And in Gene Keys, we say that the unconscious sun is what keeps your body radiant, is what keeps your body healthy. It's what you need in order to move into your life purpose or your life's work, which is unconscious earth. Does that make sense?
Yes. And so this eclipse is actually activating my radiance with that unconscious earth and unconscious sun. And that's, I'm going to be feeling it. And other people who have similar alignments are going to be feeling it too. The sun in gate 64, that the themes of that are confusion, imagination, illumination. Those are the progresses, right? So when we're in the kind of shadow side, we're in the confused state. And as we're growing into the more evolved states of this gate, we hit imagination and then illumination. The light bulb goes on type moments. And then also for the gate 63, the trajectory of those starts with in doubt, then inquiry, and then truth, right? So when you're in the shadow or the initiatory stages of that, there's a lot of doubt. You're playing around in doubt. And what was it we came up with earlier that was such a revelation that I just want to share again because it was absolutely incredible, was talking about the shadow. Do you remember, Tammy, what it was?
And I don't have a defined head nausea, but I do remember this. And by the way, gate 64 is my moon, right? So I totally love this conversation. But what you're talking about was about certainty and the mystery of life, right? Does that ding ding for you?
So when operating from the shadow, so when you're in that confusion, you're spinning around in this constant mental loop, trying to logic your way to safety. And that's the trap because you're looking for certainty in a world that is built on mystery. And then this beautiful strategy that came through about I'm not confused, I'm mid-revelation, right? The whole, when you're traversing that trajectory and you're going from confusion to the next step is allowing yourself to be in that uncertain state and not forcing and outcome. And like we discussed, it's it's the wave collapse theory in quantum physics. Once you have settled on an outcome, once you have given yourself certainty, you have eliminated possibility. And at that point, you're stuck. So I just can't help but wonder sometimes if that's how people literally do stick themselves in looking for certainty. They close off possibility. So I thought that was just so profound. That really spoke to my heart. And so I'm trying to find my notes. Sorry, please forgive me. You can edit
No,
this.
I'll talk a little bit about that too. Jeana is a 1-3 mental projector. So the only centers that are defined for Jeana is the head and the ajna. So she is naturally a broadcaster. For people like me, I have an open head and ajna, so I'm always wanting to be inspired, right? I'm always wanting to be inspired, and Jeana is my inspiration. She is always broadcasting inspiration, whether she knows this or not. Now, the trap of having a defined head and ajna is that you are addicted to certainty, right? You tend to take in a lot of information, and as she was saying, her chat GPT is like, she has so much information and she compartmentalizes it, right? Because the way that the ajna works, it's like a computer system. You take in all this data, you put it in compartments that you always have them, but it creates this narrow-minded thinking, right? You have this certainty because you have the answers, and you're not allowing yourself to open up to the possibilities and the potentials because you have this false sense of security, of certainty. And it's interesting that the city is truth, because really, what is truth?
And that is so perfect that you bring that up, because when we start talking about eclipses and what eclipses do, and especially we're talking about a whole head person and nothing else, eclipses disrupt mental narratives, and they can really help reveal the things that are underneath your hidden beliefs. Are challenging those things that you've always thought to be true, and maybe they're not true for you. And maybe even those things not that you're challenging, or you're looking at, this is what I've always thought or everything, and you challenge that belief, and then you realize that it's not true. And that can help you really release a lot of pressure. And it also opens you up. It also can cause a lot of confusion or a lack of clarity. But now with the information we were just talking about, you have the opportunity to let it reveal itself. Let it play out. Like, you don't have to put it in a box. See which box it might jump in for you, or maybe it doesn't even want a box. But just let it be. Let that fog, that's what it said. It's like the fog in the mist. Just be in that fog, but be curious and see what forms. Because when you're watching swirling fog, sometimes you can see dragons and mermaids and other beautiful things that come out of that. Instead of just saying, this is fog and I'm confused, see what's developing.
I love that so much. I remember when I was learning about this gate, E63, and working with this gate, I called it the gate of the Wonder Woman, right? Because she's, instead of looking for clarity, she's wondering. I wonder if, I wonder how, I wonder who. And being in the state of wonderment is feeding the universe. I wonder, and then the universe is going to bring you those potentials, those possibilities, and then you get to play with that, right? Oh, I wonder. Oh, that I don't like that. I'm going to wonder even bigger. I'm going to use my imagination, because Heat 64 is the divine download, right? It is imagination. And so you get to use your imagination. You get to play. You get to be a Wonder Woman instead of trying to get stuck in certainty and this is the only way. And because that is going to lead you into a really boring life. And it's going to lead you into these patterns of addictions and thought patterns and get you stuck in a rut trying to only do it one way when there's so many more ways to do things.
Absolutely. And it's funny, we're just flowing right into each other. And I love this so much. But so 64, gate 64, that's dreamy, right? It's super dreamy. And gate 63 is super logical, right? So you're having this dance between your right brain and your left brain. And the eclipse energy is really pushing you to trust intuition over information, right? So with the Pisces moon, and that's like emotional and that divine surrender. And then you've got the Virgo sun turning chaos into meaning. You've really got the tension there, right? And it's begging you the question of what's trying to come through, what's trying to birth here. And so we can take it one step further and look at what are those mental loops, right? We talked about those patterns of getting stuck in. What if we looked at those mental loops and were able to create from that? What if we could create some art, some poetry, something beautiful, something visual that you could see out of that, and you would relate to those mental loops in such a different way?
I love that so much. I was getting the download about Virgo season being a time, and this year, this is the information I got, is this is the time to plant the seeds of your field of dreams. This is the download that I was getting at the first new moon, the first Virgo new moon that happened at the end of August, was really planting the seeds of planting the seeds for your field of dreams. And this is really a great time because the eclipse season, the ground is like like our foundation is shaken up right now. And so we're just thinking, we're just dreaming, we're just playing, we're just imagining, right? The possibility. And so that when we move into another 6 months, we're going to start getting a little bit more clarity. But right now, it's not like putting things in stone. It's a time to dream and to plant the seeds of your field of dreams.
Perfect. Let the unknown lead. Use surrender as your strategy. So with both the 64 and the 63, it's all this pressure to get to a certainty or to a certain point, to have some, confirmation or resolution, right? And Virgo wants a plan. Pisces says, let's just dissolve and fade into this watery goodness. And the eclipse is saying, hey, cool, just pause. Take a pause at the threshold. Look around and at the possibilities. Like the possibilities are endless. We haven't committed to anything yet. So let's use this energy of the eclipse to just pause, look around. You're planning your field of dreams, but what are you planning in your field? Do you even know where you want your field to be? What does your field look like? Just pause at I always call it poise at the peak of possibility. Just stop right there. What's possible? Melt into that, feel into that.
I love that. And what do we do in the meantime, right? What do we do in the meantime? Because Virgo loves structure. Virgo loves to set up routines, right? Loves to plan. It's all in the details. So how do we find that balance, that healthy mix? And one thing that Jeana talks a lot about, it's not the destination, but it's the journey. Want to talk about that, Jeana?
It is not about the destination. It is about the journey. And there are things that we can do to satisfy our little inner Virgo, right? The one that wants structure and wants plans and things like that. And some of that is, one of the things I love to do is I love to structure my self-care. That is something that is really beautiful and fun to put structure around, knowing that, like, Tammy, I know you have self-care Sunday, right? You know, that's one day a week that you are going to allow, because I don't even want to say indulge. Self-care is not indulging. Self-care is a necessity. And that is that day where you plan for that, the activities that bring you joy. And even if you have things that are going on during the week that maybe are hard or stressful or whatever, that you have that one day where you can just involve yourself and immerse yourself into these things that will feel really loving to your body. I know for me, I ritualize my exercise. So this is going to sound hokey, but I light a candle when I go into my exercise room and do my workout by candlelight. For me, it feels very sacred and very devoted but that's just a little special structure and ritual that I've built around my exercise. And so I think that's how we can satisfy that Virgo that wants her rituals and wants her routines, is by using our self-care as a mechanism of inviting that into our life, instead of maybe having to make everything a rigid set schedule.
I love that. And one of the things that Jeana talks a lot about is she doesn't like structure, because the minute you try to, once again, put her in a box, she's like a cat. She's going to find her way out, right? So she doesn't love discipline. She doesn't love that way. It's very masculine. She likes to flow. She likes the feminine, moving from devotion rather than discipline. And so that you could see that in the languages and the way that she talks, right? She lights a candle before she works out. It makes her feel good. And so moving into more of the ritual, moving more into the journey and the experience, and getting out of your head, getting into your body, taking action, even if it's messy, even if you can't see further, it's going to take you a lot further than playing in your head, getting in your head and spinning your wheels. So taking action, and sometimes that is the ritual, that is the routine, is to continuously take action without the expectation. And then you're in this surprise, you're in this, when you get to wherever you're going, there's this flow that happens versus a rigid structure, if that makes sense.
And that allows you to be in that wonder, right? That allows you to have those possibilities. That it's like driving down the road and you're looking at the beautiful scenery and the wonder, but yet there's the guardrail over there that will keep you from falling off the cliff. But we don't really have to pay attention to that guardrail, but we can acknowledge that it's there and still be in wonder. There's room for both. It's that balance, and that feels very Libra to me right now, but it is, right? That balance. And I was going to say something and it totally fell out of my brain.
That's okay. See, and Jeana loves to work in containers of chaos, right?
Yeah.
It's this boundary, this container, quote unquote, where people can be messy, people can be chaotic, but she has this ability to be able to see what's actually going on and to lead people out of chaos. And that is her superpower, is within the chaos, within the confusion, in the fog, she is the lighthouse that brings that clarity. And it's not always she's going to tell you how to do things, but she asks questions that helps you find your own clarity.
Absolutely. And I do love that. It's kind of a paradox in a way, because I do the chaos. Like, it's fun. Chaos is fun. But then there's that other part of me, the Virgo, that I do like to set things straight and get things organized and stuff like that. So truly, honestly, that is my gift, is that I can see the chaos. I can see through the chaos to the structure, and really navigate that well. And that's what I help my clients do, is navigate that chaos through the fog and into some sort of structure, or at least understanding, right? A little bit of clarity.
Yes, the message that I got while you were talking is that Jeana, Jeana runs a tight ship.
Okay, that's so funny. And I don't know if this will make you laugh or not, but I have always said I run a tight ship, but I have a lot of stoned hippies on the dock.
Yeah, that was the message. I'm picturing like Peter Pan and Captain Hook and the ship in the fog. and yet, even though it seems chaotic, you hold that structure, that's safety almost, that it's okay to play, it's okay to be out of the line, because Mama Jeana, she's gonna hold you, right? She's gonna hold you, she's gonna keep you safe. And so that you can color out of the lines and out of the boundaries, knowing that it's a safe space to be.
Yeah. And so before we go, I do want to talk about one other thing. I want to talk about some things that we can possibly do to embody these eclipse energy and kind of anchor it in. And these are some soul care practices that maybe people can indulge in. I'll say indulge because they do feel a little bit luxurious, but some type of, to honor the Pisces part, some type of sensory deprivation. So it could be a dark room. It could be a float. I love me a good float. I don't know if you've ever done that, but oh man, or some other type of water ritual to really honor that Pisces energy. And then for Virgo, I suggest some nice grounding breath work, maybe some somatic exercises, especially if it involves getting your hips involved and loosening that up, would be a really great way to embody that. We can also do what I like to call some I don't know journaling, which is like just brain dump. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to make sense. It could just be words. It could be scribbles, but just dump it, because that is the chaos. That's the confusion, right? And giving yourself the permission to just dump without having to have it resolved, right? And then I say, here's a good mantra if you are interested. Are you interested?
I can't wait to hear it.
I let confusion be my chrysalis. I let doubt be my doorway. I'm not here to solve. I'm just here to see.
And with that, there's no way I can top that. So I'm going to close here. Thank you, Jeana, so much for sharing your wisdom and sharing your gifts. I'm going to leave her link down in the show notes so you can find and work with Jeana. She has this amazing ability, like I said. You come in with your chaos, you come in with all of the things, and she is going to hold space for you, and she's going to help you see stuff that you can't see within yourself, right? She's going to ask those questions and pull out the gold within you that you don't see. And through that, you're going to gain your own clarity and take that next aligned action step.
Thank you so much, Tammy. This has been a blast. I appreciate it so much. Happy
Right.
Eclipse season.
Happy eclipse season. Awesome.
Thank you.